Lost in darkness, a human soul awakens reborn as a weak mushroom, his old life forsaken. Trapped in a deadly dungeon, a mere NPC programmed to perish, but he refuses to flee. Defying the system, he fights with cunning and might, absorbing his foe's power, transforming in the night. Floor by floor, he ascends a chief with berserk power. To break free from the dungeon in his darkest hour. Our boy wakes up in total darkness, confused by his sudden loss of vision. He finds himself trapped in a strange subterranean environment with no clear exit path, realizing with horror that he has been reincarnated into the body of a mushroom monster. He struggles to recall the final moments of his previous life before this transformation, remembering a fleeting, intense dream of a beautiful woman that ended his human existence, and he laments the absurdity of dying from his own habits only. Desperate to regain his former handsome face, he cries out in frustration at his fate. Suddenly, a voice calls out to him, addressing him as Brother Xingbao. He turns to see a smaller, similar creature watching him from the shadows. His mind drifts back to the beautiful woman, distracting him from his current reality. He finds himself easily smitten by the sight of her, his mushroom eyes turning into hearts. He tries to compose himself, clenching his small fists to regain his focus. The other creature stares at him, clearly confused by his strange, erratic behavior, questioning why Brother Xingbao is acting so bizarrely in the middle of the dungeon. He realizes his strange behavior is just his base instincts taking over his mind. Asking what he usually says, he prompts the other creature for a quick lesson. His companion explains that they are programmed to shout threats at all intruders. Xingbao is shocked by the simplicity of his new existence as a dungeon monster. Suddenly, he finds himself shouting the required phrase at a pair of approaching enemies. Heavy footsteps shake the ground as two powerful intruders enter the chamber. A massive orc warrior breathes heavily, his red eyes scanning the dark room. The warrior and an orc archer discuss their plan to speedrun the dungeon. Xingbao lunges forward in a desperate programmed attack against the massive orc. The warrior effortlessly swings his weapon, cutting through him with a single strike. The two intruders celebrate their easy victory, ready to clear the dungeon once again. The mushroom men charge forward, mindlessly screaming their programmed threats at the approaching orc invaders, but the massive orc warrior swings his heavy axe, cutting through them with ease. Xingbao watches the carnage in shock, realizing how fragile his new existence truly is. His companion questions why they charge blindly instead of fleeing when the odds are poor, explaining that they are mere NPCs bound by rigid programming rather than free will. Xingbao learns the invaders are players, realizing his world is a game for others. A sudden powerful strike shatters the ground near them, forcing the pair to scramble. The orc archer draws her bow, aiming directly at the fleeing mushroom men from afar. She prepares to unleash a lethal shot, her red eyes locked onto her targets. Panic sets in as Xingbao realizes they are being hunted, screaming for his companion. He dives for cover, narrowly avoiding the incoming danger while his heart races wildly. His companion follows close behind, desperate to escape the relentless pursuit of the players. Xingbao urges the other to keep running, refusing to accept their inevitable programmed end. His companion insists that fleeing is impossible as it violates their core game code. Xingbao reaches out, grabbing his companion's hand to defy the system's restrictive, cruel design. Surge of energy sparks between them, triggering intense warnings of a data anomaly. He ignores the system alerts, determined to break the rules and fight for survival. The glitching reality flickers around them as Xingbao refuses to let his companion perish. Together, they sprint away, defying their programming to escape the deadly orc duel. The orcs pause in confusion, baffled by the sight of monsters actually running away. They decide to hunt the pair down, dismissing the strange behavior as a bug. Xingbao searches for any way to defend himself, hoping to find a hidden weapon. His eyes widen as he spots something tucked away in the dark, dusty corner. A treasure chest sits abandoned, offering a glimmer of hope in this hopeless dungeon. He reaches for the loot, but his companion warns that chests belong only to players. Xingbao's companion laments that mushroom men lack the basic ability to open chests, but a sudden surge of energy triggers a massive glitching data anomaly, and the treasure chest bursts open under the pressure of their defiance. His companion stares in disbelief, wondering how Xingbao could possibly break the rules, while Xingbao ignores the shock and immediately starts looting the valuable contents. Suddenly, a lethal arrow whistles through the air, aimed directly at them. Xingbao realizes he has defied his programming to protect his companion from harm. He lunges forward, putting his own body on the line to shield his friend. The arrow strikes, but Xingbao manages to deflect the projectile with his new gear. Another shot screams toward them, forcing him to stay alert and ready. The orc archer watches from above, stunned by the sight of a monster. She cannot believe a low-level creature just deflected her perfectly aimed lethal shot. The orc warrior is equally baffled, labeling the strange behavior as a massive bug. They discuss the recurring glitches, unaware that Xingbao is listening to their conversation. The warrior questions why these persistent bugs still plague their dungeon runs. A dark-hooded necromancer explains that long-running systems inevitably suffer from such maintenance oversights. He reveals the dungeon was designed by a Lich solely to entertain heroes. The orc archer prepares another arrow, determined to fix this bug herself. She fires again, but Xingbao is ready to counter the incoming projectile. He swings his stolen weapon, expertly batting the deadly arrow out of existence. Xingbao realizes his new mushroom body possesses surprisingly agile and capable base stats. A volley of arrows rains down, forcing him to dodge and weave. He deflects the barrage with his blade, holding his ground against the onslaught. Despite his agility, he struggles to close the distance on his short legs. He desperately scans the area for a better way to block the fire. Xingbao uses the heavy chest lid as a makeshift shield against the incoming arrows. The orc archer watches in disbelief, questioning how a mere monster learned such combat tactics. Arrows rain down relentlessly, but Xingbao holds his ground behind the sturdy wooden barrier. Impacts rattle the lid as he deflects every shot with his newfound defensive gear. The orc archer realizes she is facing a player, not a mindless programmed dungeon mob. Xingbao seizes the opening, launching a swift, precise counterattack against his surprised opponent. His blade strikes true, cutting through the orc archer and ending her threat instantly. The orc falls, leaving Xingbao standing alone over the body of his defeated enemy. A system notification confirms his victory, granting him powerful new racial talents and skills. Xingbao accepts his new reality, realizing that having a system is essential for survival. He activates his unique ability, preparing to harvest the fallen orc for its power. Glowing tendrils emerge from his body, latching onto the defeated orc with intense energy. The process is intoxicating as he begins to absorb the nutrients from the corpse. Energy surges through him, causing his form to flicker and change under the strain. He focuses intently, feeling his very essence being rewritten by the stolen powerful data. The transformation intensifies, drawing power from the fallen foe to fuel his own evolution. He promises to protect his companion, vowing to use this new strength for them. Xingbao channels the absorbed energy, pushing his limits to complete the radical physical shift. Glowing light envelops him, weaving together new forms from the remnants of the orc. His body stretches and reshapes, shedding the mushroom exterior for a more capable form. The light fades, revealing the result of his evolution, as the energy stabilizes completely. Xingbao stands tall, having successfully transformed into a powerful humanoid warrior. Through his skill, his companion watches in awe, overwhelmed by the sudden and dramatic change in appearance. He emerges in his new form, ready to face the dungeon with newfound power. The system confirms his upgrade, detailing his lethal abilities and enhanced combat stats. His new Mushroom Man subordinate bows low, requesting a name from her master. The system prompts him to name his first recruit, leaving him momentarily stunned. He pauses to consider a fitting title for his loyal fungal companion. Xingbao decides on the name Seifeng, bestowing it upon his silent follower. She accepts the name immediately, then asks which dungeon realm they should conquer next. Xingbao reminds her that they are merely NPCs bound by their monster programming. His eyes glow with a dark intensity as he prioritizes hunting the remaining player. Skeletal remains of a fallen warrior lie scattered across the cold dungeon floor. A sudden violent impact shatters the ground as the hunt for the player intensifies. An orc warrior discovers the remains of Labu, shocked that a weak monster succeeded. He spots the small, unassuming Mushroom Man standing in the distance. He anticipates a massive payday, hoping for rare loot from this kill. With a roar, he launches a devastating charge toward his target. Xingbao stands his ground, bracing for the collision against the hulking armored brute. The orc swings his massive axe, but Xingbao narrowly avoids the lethal blow. Xingbao manages to land a precise counter slash, drawing blood from the surprised orc. He notes that the warrior is significantly tougher than the previous archer opponent. The orc growls in frustration, stunned that a lowly Mushroom Man could actually wound him. Xingbao retreats across the terrain, baiting the aggressive warrior into a tactical position. He scurries away, his small feet pattering against the stone as the orc pursues. They reach a precarious wooden bridge spanning a dark, misty chasm. The orc smashes through the wooden structure, closing the distance with pure rage. Xingbao waits at the end of the broken bridge, watching his enemy approach. He stands perfectly still, a calm, blank expression masking his true, calculated intentions. The orc hesitates, sensing a trap, but dismissing the Mushroom Man as a mere NPC. Xingbao taunts the enraged orc warrior with a defiant gesture, mocking his pride. The orc bellows in fury, vowing to crush the Mushroom Man into tiny pieces. Charging forward with his massive axe, the orc prepares to deliver a lethal strike. The wooden bridge groans under the weight of the orc's heavy, aggressive assault. Xingbao remains calm as the massive blade descends, ready to execute his plan. The bridge shatters completely, sending the hulking warrior plummeting into the dark waters below. Caught off guard by the sudden collapse, the orc falls helplessly into the chasm. A massive splash erupts as the orc hits the water, his momentum completely lost. Struggling in the depths, the orc screams in frustration at the clever Mushroom Man. Xingbao watches from above, noting the orc's vulnerability and lack of a weapon. With a swift motion, Xingbao launches a precise strike, wounding the struggling orc. Arrows rain down from the shadows, piercing the orc as he flounders helplessly. Xingbao continues his relentless assault, keeping the orc pinned within the deep water. Blood stains the surface as the orc takes another hit, his strength fading. Desperate and confused, the orc wonders who is orchestrating this lethal hidden attack. A final decisive blow strikes the orc, ending his struggle in the dark. Mysterious hand reaches out from the shadows, signaling the end of the fight. The orc's berserk state fades away, leaving him defeated and completely motionless. The system confirms the orc warrior is eliminated, securing victory for our boy. Xingbao approaches the fallen foe, ready to claim the power he has earned. Glowing energy flows from the orc into Xingbao, fueling his rapid magical evolution. A brilliant light envelops him as his form begins to shift and reshape. The transformation completes, revealing Xingbao in his powerful original human-like warrior form. His companion stares in shock, noticing something unexpected about his new exposed appearance. Embarrassed and flustered, Xingbao initially fears his transformation left him without any proper clothing. To his relief, he realizes he is in fact fully clothed after his intense transformation. The system reveals his new status as a Mushroom Man chief with powerful berserk abilities. His skill upgrades allowing him to grow soulless shroom minions from enemy corpses nearby. He also gains magic pouches perfect for storing his weapons and essential loot items. Xingbao asks how to escape learning they must fight their way up every floor. He questions why orc players enter so easily confused by the dungeon's strange rules. She explains that players possess special privileges to access lower levels of the dungeon. Xingbao recalls hearing these secrets from player chats back when he was an NPC. They agree to clear the dungeon floor by floor to reach the surface world. At a fork in the road, he learns the paths lead to slimes or graveyards. Xingbao sends his companion to grind experience while he investigates the eerie dark graveyard. He envisions the graveyard as their future base despite its grim and current state. Wearing scavenged rags, he moves stealthily through the shadows toward his chosen destination. A pungent, overwhelming stench of decay greets him long before he reaches the site. He realizes the graveyard serves as a dumping ground for trash and fallen corpses. A massive hole looms above acting as a chute for the dungeon's discarded remains. Scattered bones and debris litter the floor, creating a grim landscape for our boy. Xingbao inspects the pile, sensing residual nutrients hidden within the mountain of old bones. He discovers a mixture of potions and organic matter perfect for his growth. More resources are found in the sludge, providing the fuel he needs for evolution. Blood-stained remains offer the final components required to strengthen his growing fungal army. Xingbao reaches out, channeling his energy to spawn a new minion from the bones. Glowing red light swirls around the remains, binding the essence into a nascent form. A powerful shockwave erupts as the magic takes hold, reshaping the dead into life. A fiery, evolved shroom minion emerges, ready to serve Xingbao in his upcoming conquest. Xingbao reviews the stats for his new pyro shroom, noting its explosive fire-based combat skills. He observes the small creature, finding its size underwhelming despite its clear potential for destruction. Suddenly, a pair of glowing blue eyes emerges from the darkness, signaling a new threat. Xingbao prepares for a confrontation, his body crackling with energy as he readies his own defenses. A lightning-charged creature leaps from the shadows, moving with surprising speed toward the unsuspecting duo. Xingbao crouches low, tracking the movements of the glowing beast as it navigates the bone-filled floor. System identifies the foe as a level 2 graveyard dominator, a dangerous lightning snail. Xingbao realizes this creature competes for the same nutrients, so he orders his minion to attack. His pyro shroom launches a searing ball of fire, unleashing its signature pyroblast at the snail. Flames streak across the dark graveyard, closing the distance between the shroom and the electric beast. The lightning snail retaliates, discharging a powerful bolt of electricity to intercept the incoming fire attack. A massive explosion rocks the chamber, sending debris flying as the two elemental forces collide violently. Smoke and embers fill the air, obscuring the battlefield, while the shockwave rattles the cavern walls. The lightning snail emerges from the blast, still crackling with energy, but clearly feeling the heat. It fires another bolt of lightning, desperate to maintain its dominance over this grim subterranean territory. Xingbao activates his blazing sprint, moving with incredible speed to avoid the lethal arcing electrical discharge. He notes the snail's sluggish movement, realizing its lack of agility is a fatal exploitable weakness. The pyro shroom maneuvers around the snail, preparing to deliver another devastating point-blank fire strike. Charging up its energy, the minion looms over the snail, ready to finish the intense duel. Another fiery blast erupts, engulfing the snail in flames and finally overwhelming its electrical defenses. The cavern echoes with the sounds of the struggle, eventually fading into a tense, heavy silence. The defeated snail lies motionless and smoking, its life force extinguished by the relentless fiery assault. Xingbao watches from the ledge, observing his minion as it stands victorious over the fallen foe. He calls out to the pyro shroom, demanding it confirm the enemy is truly permanently eliminated. The minion gives a confident gesture, signaling that the threat has been completely neutralized for good. A lightning snail discharges a massive electrical surge, forcing Xingbao to dodge the lethal strike. Crackling with raw power, the beast maneuvers across the cavern floor with terrifying newfound speed. A deafening boom echoes through the chamber as the two combatants clash in the dark. Xingbao leaps into the air, narrowly avoiding a direct hit from the snail's arcing lightning bolts. He taunts the creature, mocking its inability to land a clean hit despite its electric speed. Blue energy streaks past his head, leaving the air smelling of ozone and singed dungeon dust. Xingbao swings his weapon, deflecting the incoming electrical currents with precise, calculated movements in the air. He notes the snail's vulnerability now that it has shed its heavy protective shell for mobility. The beast moves like a blur, yet Xingbao tracks its path, realizing its speed is dangerous. Lightning strikes the cavern walls, illuminating the intense, high-stakes duel between the man and beast. Xingbao observes the creature, remarking that shedding its heavy shell has made it incredibly light. The lightning snail lunges forward again, its glowing eyes fixed on its target with predatory intent. Xingbao focuses his energy, preparing a counterattack to end this battle once and for all. He unleashes a torrent of fire, engulfing the area in a blinding, searing wall of flames. The lightning snail is caught in the inferno, its electrical defenses finally crumbling under the heat.